Welcome back, y'all. Another round of applause for Karen Ng, please. For those who may not be aware, we've done this once already. Karen did an option performance in the COVID era when it was fully remote and video streamed. And I think you had a pre-recorded trio set that we played, and then we discussed the work live. So there's maybe some life and career background stuff we covered there that we might not get into today because we can kind of just get right into the work, which is fun.
Sure.
I would love to have you speak a little bit about the piece today and kind of all of the different elements that were going on, different instruments, different approaches to playing. If you could speak about that for a moment.
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, I really usually just improvise freely and acoustically. So all of this is very relatively new. And it started, like, I think it wasn't so much like I was like, oh, I'm out of sounds and I want more. I think I was just kind of interested in how electronic and acoustic things talk to each other. And I think, I've heard a lot of, there's like so much great like horn and electronic music out there. A lot of it is, maybe more on the side of like long, like sort of slow changes over a very long time, which I love. But I kind of wanted to do the opposite of that for whatever reason. So I, with my friend David Sutka, who's his label is Halocline Trance, which is what my album out there is released on. We worked on it together. He built a couple patches with this synthesizer. This is a Waldorf Blofeld. And just the sounds are so cool and rich. And when it got to the point of performing this live, I just had to figure out a way to have these sounds sort of triggered in a way that was reactive to what I was doing. So it's not so much that it is just playing and is going. It's more that like I'm feeding it something and it's feeding me something, and then it's just this weird, crazy feedback loop of randomness. There's a lot of random sort of melodic information in there, which I find really fun. And yeah, so I have this one microphone that was triggering, sort of going from audio to MIDI. There's a conversion that happens, and then it triggers these patches that we've built that are also constantly changing now. Like now that I've been doing this a little bit, and then I've also taken a few stems from the album, and so those kind of come in and play once in a while to just sort of give it another sort of shape of worlds. But yeah, it's pretty nerdy. Like, I don't really understand what's happening most of the time, but it was really cool to get into because all of just like recorded electronic sound is very new to me, and it's just like this whole insane hypothetical world where anything can happen, and it's like pretty amazing and overwhelming. And so it's cool to I've just sort of picked this thread, and I'm just moving through it, and it's changing all the time, and it's hopefully eventually will be in a place where improvising with it and with others is a thing. Right now it's sort of this little synthesizer is pretty menu divey, so I haven't quite figured out a way to be able to sort of adjust parameters but again, the randomness of it is like pretty great. And I've got 2 expression pedals that are mapped to a few different parameters that can like sort of, it's given me enough sort of variety that it's like I'm still constantly surprised in a good way with things that are happening and all these like different sounds and worlds and like the dynamic between the 2 things together at last. It's been really fun, but it's also, I've definitely never felt so smart. I feel very smart, solving lots of problems all the time. Some of it is really boring. Like, I don't know if anyone here has like done this stuff, but having a full day of trying to battle with like ancient like my MacBook is so old and cranky and
highly relatable experience. For most,
like
I think.
like okay, today's the day that I uninstall and reinstall all drivers for everything, and they're like, you don't have enough storage, and I'm like, okay, it's another 4 hours of my life. But it is cool to sort of explore this like literal other side of my brain. Like I feel like I've really gone like happily very far in this sort of open, improvised world, and then there's this other world that's like super technical and like kind of problem solving, and it's been kind of fun because they are opposites in a way, and there's just so much in my life I'm realizing that I'm like I kind of love the opposites because then like the space in between becomes like really interesting, so to hold these two opposites is great, like in literal texture and sound, but also in mentality. And then you think about what's happening in between, and it's really cool. Yeah, I'm really happy that this whole weird thing is happening.
Love it.
Yeah.
Where are you right now in the arc of using these instruments and this rig? How long has it been since you've first kind of tried it and performed in a solo context with it?
Yeah, like so like a lot of things. I guess I'll talk a little bit because I really just love a lot of singer-songwriter friends, composers, singer-songwriters and bands in general, where you make a thing in a studio and you layer and you do all the stuff, and then you're like, oh God, now I have to play it live, and you have to like relearn it, and it just feels like a reversed process than what I'm used to sort of in the world of like writing down an idea like on a piece of paper, giving it to your friends, we play, and like maybe you tour it a bit and you're like, okay, it's ready to be like documented, and this is like really totally the opposite. So it's been really fun doing that. And so the album was made last year around this time. Last year? Oh God, has it been 2 years? I don't know. It's been a while. And then
Time is a flat circle.
it is hard to tell. But the first performance of this was last November, and it basically like didn't work. Like the whole thing just like crashed. And I played with my friend David, and he was just like in a corner, horrified, being like, "I'm sorry, I don't know." And I'm like, "I know, I don't know." But it was like all of my people were there. It was like a birthday party. I was like, oh, it's fine, whatever. Everyone's here and having a nice time. So it took a further like month or two after where I performed this in Montreal for the first time alone, and just spent so much time trying to figure out what the problems were. And then basically since February, there's been like a thing kind of like this, like where I get to play and we get to talk about it. Or, there's a little moment there where I was running around in all these like smaller DIY spots, maybe without really a PA, and I just have an amp. And it was really cool to have this music in these worlds, in these different literal spaces. Like, this is the first time I'm doing this outside under a tree, which is pretty great. Like, I didn't think that the sound would exist outdoors, so that's really cool. And I think it's, there's a couple more months of like this, and who knows, maybe I'll just throw it all away and never do this again. I don't really know. It's been pretty fun though, so I probably won't do that. But yeah, there's, it is kind of tempting though, huh? Like, just like, well, that was that. Never again.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
You mentioned your work that you do with a lot of singer-songwriters in Toronto. And there was something that really struck me about the set where your use of polyphony was really interesting to me, and the harmony that was happening there. There's a lot of experimental and improvised music that is so deathly afraid of like any kind of tonal reference or any kind of consonance happening that there's almost like a...
Right.
You're always drawn to the most dissonant or,
right.
textural sounds, but there were really nice harmonic moments in there while also not like locking into a tonal center. So could you describe a little bit of your approach and your relationship to harmony or polyphony and how some of that comes through in the composition or improvisation? Yeah,
and I feel like when we had that talk during COVID, and it's a question that comes up a lot. I mean, I actually feel like Chicago is full of musicians like this, where you're playing with singer-songwriters, and then like on Sunday you're just going and it's like just so amazing that we have the ability to be, again, these opposites. And I love songs, I love melody, and I love harmony, especially as a person that never gets to play. It's like, you know, one note at a time. And then I started playing multiphonics. I'm like, that's sort of also not it, but like nice to have this. You know, it is cool to think about melody and harmony in a way with a sort of a view of like one side of the spectrum and then this like whole other side, and again, what happens in between. So that first piece I played, like I just wrote a melody and I really liked it, and then so I was like, yeah, remember melodies. This is great. And the harmonic parts is random. It's pretty random. Like, I'm not entirely sure what's going to come out, and then just sort of sitting in it and just being like, this is the chord or a chord. And I think your brain just, or our sort of musical minds will just start to carve like a narrative with it or through it and a path through it, and it's great. And it's like, instead of sort of, it's just like another option or something, knowing that it's coming from a place where I don't know, yeah, like sort of conventional chord progressions or not, or what's in between. And this is a kind of in between that I don't feel like I've really experienced before. So that's been really fun to just like be like, here's a new sound, and I don't know what it is, and it's actually kind of random, and I don't, you know, like there's no sort of there's intention, but there isn't like a dictation of it, which is really fun. Yeah.
In playing solo with these instruments, it is somewhat of a collaboration, because you're collaborating with this machine that has certain predetermined things that could happen, and also mostly, you know, so much randomness built into it.
Yeah.
When you're playing, could you describe the balance between playing the horn and improvising, you know, with yourself, with your instrument that you're super familiar with and have done for decades, and then also playing to trigger some of those events, or how you kind of adapt your playing in that situation?
Yeah, it forces me to play really differently, that's for sure. And I think that it is like a weird feedback loop, because I'm playing like with myself, but not. There's like a machine in between, and like that is a really kind of strange thing. But I was talking about, well, I mean, just even earlier, like I'm like playing solo is wild. Like I am in such a crazy mindset, like right before, during, and after, and it is kind of interesting to just have this stuff happen, and for me to have something to sort of react to, but then also to just accept this is what's happening, you know, like that's kind of really nice. So it's again, it is intentional, but it isn't like I feel intentional about what I'm playing, but I have no idea what it's going to be, but I'm informing it in some way. And so it is this really weird like feedback loop that makes no sense. And it's really fun.
Have you found a degree of control with the instruments where you feel like you can
like,
approach it in a way, play something, and you kind of have an idea of what's going to come back at you?
Yeah, like in a very basic way. In the same way that, you know, like I love improvised music for the reasons that like, okay, like you kind of there's an expectation of what's could happen, but then also what is happening is not, you know, that's not determined. And I guess I just think it's you know, I don't want anything to blow up. That's definitely for sure. And yeah, there's like little things I'm like, oops, I pressed the wrong button, and trying to get those things down so that I'm like, you know, I'm giving myself the ideal kind of space where things can just start to happen, and I'm not worried about whether like one of the patches isn't working or something. Like trying to like prepare in this way that all those aspects are like gonna go, and then just accepting whatever actual material comes out of it, or at me, or from me, sorta. Yeah.
You were mentioning how solo playing is a very specific, strange mindset.
Yeah.
I've always felt that it feels a little bit like time travel, because you don't really have a real perception of how time is passing. It can feel very strange. You can feel like you've played for 2 hours and it's been 15 minutes, and vice versa, right?
That's true.
Could you speak a little bit about compositionally how you deal with that, and how you occupy that time for yourself? We were
Yeah.
talking a little bit earlier
Yeah,
about
yeah.
using a timer or not using a timer, and I've done it both ways myself, and sometimes you feel drawn towards making certain events happen when you know how much time has elapsed.
Yeah.
But how you kind of deal with that problem in the playing.
Like, I think it's just such a like vulnerable state, and I think so my mind is just like I'm just trying my best not to think too hard about it, and whatever that needs to happen to sort of shut off your brain to the kinds of like, you know, whatever little voices of like, is this cool? Is everyone having a nice time? Like these are the little like voices that are in my head. And I think when I first started playing, like, it was just super hard. Like, I would play some stuff and be like, that felt like a piece of music, like maybe a set. And then I did have a timer and be like, that was like 5 minutes. And like, okay, well, that, interesting, you know, like I should learn how to be more patient or like stretch out, take my time. And then, but then starting to, at 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, whoa, I'm always doing this thing where I'm switching at 10 minutes. There's obviously a tendency there at that time, or this sort of perceived amount of time. And then stretching it, and then like throwing it all away after, and then just letting it kind of happen. And it's, each time I feel like it is pretty different. And that at any point, like, I don't really know, like, because I'm trying to shut off my brain in a way that I don't really know what has just happened, or like you said, you're like, I don't know how much time has gone by. I don't know.
Out, and then you come
and then,
to
like,
eventually.
Wake up and I open my eyes and like all of you are here, and I'm like, whoa, this is wow. But it is kind of cool to kind of be so present. Or you were talking about presence, like I think that's a really cool thing. Because it's like also like presence, like alone, like can you just like be in a moment with yourself, and it's like uncomfortable sometimes, or it's like scary. And it's been interesting to have a process where I'm like putting myself in that situation more and more. It doesn't get any less scary, but it is interesting, like how it feels and how different it feels each time.
I've thought so much about that specific impulse for a lot of time recently, where, okay, not to get philosophical here, but
let's do it.
We all have our phones and the internet, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So dealing with the stimuli that we deal with constantly every day in our lives, I'm a music teacher. I notice it with my students all the time that like attention spans get shorter.
Oh, yeah.
People they lose the ability to sit with silence and be patient and deal with nothing happening. And I feel like solo playing is like the exact intersection of all of those problems to deal with.
And kind of like an extreme version of it too, because it's just you and it's so vulnerable. And I do think, I was just saying this last night too, like that my focus is just like awful right now. Like I definitely, like our phones and whatever, I think it's done something to my attention. But when I'm improvising with people or playing like this, that's like the only time I can think of where I'm truly like present and I'm not thinking and I'm focused and I'm like, so it's like such a nice gift to be able to still have that, because I'm like, wow, I will have to work really hard outside of that to just like get that kind of attention and presence and focus back. Like even at like, having a conversation with someone and try and like really like I'm noticing my mind just wanders like very easily when there's like a cat or a shiny thing. You're like, ooh. And so it's like trying to be in this situation. I'm like, wow, it's lovely to really be here and like present, and to do that also like with others, like whether I'm playing or with an audience, it's like so nice to like, it's nice to have it still.
So you were mentioning this record that came out, that a lot of this performance practice is kind of centered out of that process of recording. Could you talk about kind of the birth of that concept and idea and the recording process and how all of that kind of came together for you?
Yeah, I really usually only exist in performance, like in live performance. So like recording has also kind of always been like a little bit scary to me. I'm like, oh my God, it'll be like, a like solid thing that isn't going to change and is like, when we improvise and we play and then it's just like out in the ether and you're like, that was nice.
You can immediately turn your brain off after it's over. Yeah.
But to make something that you're like, it's going to be like static, that's it. Has always been kind of crazy. And I think through the pandemic is when like so many of us, I started recording at home, like, cause I was like, I have so much time, like, let's check it out. And like, so it started really from that, like of just putting down ideas at home and knowing it's like kind of like practicing when nobody's like can hear you. Like it was cool to just put down ideas and there's no, like it doesn't leave my bedroom. And then I think just thinking about sort of recorded music, David had offered like a while ago. He was like, yeah, like if you ever want to record, like you should, like we should do something. And I'm like, that sounds great. And then like 3 years went by and he's like, like maybe you should just come over and start and then it'll happen, because I think I was just like so distracted with so many other things that, but I'm so grateful that I actually did that, because then it's like, the whole process of it is still, it was new too. It was cool to go through that and have a thing and just be like, yeah, I made that. And it's not something that is, it's not something that sounds like me otherwise too. It's like cool to have this like version of you that's there, and then also there's these other versions when I'm playing with bands or improvising with friends. And so it was really cool, and I'm really grateful David was really like, yeah, because I think if he hadn't have done that, I'd be like, I'll just get to it later and then not do that. And now that there is one, I'm like, yeah, there can be more. Or like, I've tried this thing, maybe I want something else now, and to like, it's really opened the door to like keep making things, which I didn't think I'd ever really do. I think I was like, I'm just gonna be freewheeling improv in the ether person.
I do feel like we get used to thinking of a record or a recording project as a final stamped product.
Yeah.
But it can be such a powerful realization to understand it as like, oh, it helps you figure out what the fuck this is, and then be able to continue adapting it, obviously in a live format, and how that continues to live on.
Yeah, it's funny because like this, like I once the record was done, I like kind of knew it wasn't gonna be the same ever, because it can't, kind of like, the like it's my friend Joseph mixed it. This guy in Germany mastered it. It just sounds so good. I'm like, okay, this will never, like, why bother to trying to recreate this exact thing? That's what the record's for. It lives in that world, and then now it's just gonna change and be something else. So that's really cool that that's happened. And I feel like, again, like for the next thing, I'm like, maybe I'll go way the other way and go right back to like only acoustic. Maybe it is compositions that I'm gonna like write down and like give to my friends, or it just gives this like kind of a baseline or something. Like now there's this thing, and then like how do I want to move like away from it, like continue it, or it just gives this sort of ability to move now. Move, I guess. I don't know.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, the sun has shifted. I'm now getting roasted,
oh, no.
as you all have been for hours
Yeah.
now. So we can open it up for a few questions. For the recording of this interview, I will probably try to repeat your questions the best I can into the microphone so that we have that for posterior sake. But are there any questions that people would like to ask of Karen?
Do you want a hat? I have a hat on my back.
I'm chilling. I'm doing great right now. I need a little bit of sun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, questions.
Anybody? All right. Well, Jim.
Toronto.
The question, sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
The question was asking about Toronto, where Karen's from, and how you ended up there, and what that scene is like. And
Toronto. I'm from Toronto. I was born in Scarborough, which is just like this. Scarborough has the best food, and it's like a burb outside of Toronto. And then when I was 4, I moved to Hong Kong, where my parents are from. And then when I was 11, I moved back to Toronto. So Toronto's basically for home. Like Toronto is home for me. I was saying that there's like so many funny little parallels with Chicago. Like I really do feel we're both lake cities. We have Second City as well. There's like, I don't know, the humidity, the weather, the kind of sprawl of the city, but it's not quite as dense. And so what I was saying before about Chicago musicians, and also what I really think is very special about Toronto is that the Toronto musicians also really move around in a lot of different circles and a lot of different kinds of music. And I wonder if part of that is because it's sort of, you know, like compact in a way that people can make it to 2 different gigs, like in a day, in a night, like to watch or to play. And so there's just like this beautiful mixing. We have this one venue called the Transac, which I'm in love with. I mean, I live there basically, and it's like a community center. And there's room for singer-songwriters and improvisers and bluegrass. And there's someone like there's a knitting circle and someone like rehearsing a play in the back. And so there's this lovely mix that I think actually is kind of the reason why there's a lot of Canadian singer-songwriters or that live in Toronto or from Toronto that have a lot of improvisers in their band. And it's like this really beautiful, special thing where the music that's also made in that room just feels like it's made for that room. And I some of it I can't even imagine outside of that room. And so it's really special. I really love Toronto so much, and I travel a lot, and every time I go home, I'm really happy to be there. And there's a very beautiful, lovely, like large but tight-knit scene of improvisers and musicians. I went to jazz school at one point, and so like all of those friends who are, you know, still playing or not, like we still hang out even if we're not playing the same kind of music, and we can still go get a drink or watch baseball or whatever. So it's really nice. I really love that city so much. I'm really feeling a lot of things similar, like in my very short time here, like 4 days or whatever, but it does feel like there's some sort of common essence or something. I don't know what it is.
Great
but
Lakes, big cities.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? No? All right. Let's all cool off and drink some water. But one more round of applause for Karen Ng.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.